Okay, so here's the assignment for today. We're going to take what we learned from the notes and apply it to this worksheet. The first task that you have to do is name the arc made by the given angle. You know it's an angle because you have the angle symbol and then you have 3 letters to name it. F, Q, E. So start at F, go to Q, go to E, and you can see that it names this angle that I'm outlining right now. The arc that it outlines the arc that the angle outlines is that edge that it intercepts. So we can take F and E. So F, Q, E equals arc FE. Okay. All right, let's show you number 2 where they name the angle a little bit different. Here they just say that it's angle 1. You can see angle 1 is right in the intersection in the vertex of these 2 rays. And it makes our angle right there. The intercepted arc goes from endpoint H to endpoint I. So angle 1 equals arc HI. Okay. Name the central angle of the given arc. So here is our given arc. We're going backwards now. We have arc M, L, and if we trace the angle that would have intercepted that arc, we see that we are looking at angle 1. So arc ML equals angle 1. I'll let you do 4 on your own. Okay, now let's look at number 5. The directions here say, if an angle is given, name the arc it makes. If an arc is given, name its central angle. Okay, so we're kind of mixing up the 2 skills that we just learned. They gave us the arc RS. Let's start from point R, go to point S, and then we see that it is the outer edge of that angle, kind of like a little pie shape of this angle right here. Now let's see how we can name it. We know it's going to be an angle, so we're going to say it equals angle. You need 3 letters for an angle. S, go to the middle, which is Q, go to the outside, which is R. So SQR. Okay, for number 6, they're going to be asking us to find the major arc for number 1. Angle 1 right here starts at B, goes through the middle, and ends at A. Now you wouldn't want to go find the arc and say that the arc is BA. You wouldn't want to do that because that's not half the circle. That's less than half the circle. The major arc is more than half the circle, more than 180 degrees. So we would want to start with point B, go through point C, end at point A. So the major arc is BCA. You also would not want to say that angle 1 equals BCA. Angle 1 equals the minor arc, BA, but the major arc is bigger, so you can't put an equal sign like we did before. Okay, for your assignment, go ahead and find KQL and tell me what that arc would be that goes with that angle. Then go find for me the arc SVT and tell me what the angle would be that intercepts that. Maybe I'll help out with this one just a little bit. SVT, if I go from S all the way through point V, all the way to T, there's that big major arc. Now you want to say what are the endpoints and the vertex of the angle that's formed by that. So hopefully that outlining will help you find that. Okay, now we get to do some actual math. And one of the things that we just need to remember is that every circle has 360 degrees. The other thing that we have to remember is that arcs equal the central angle. And I'll just write central. If you remember those two things, you can figure out these problems here that you have to do. First of all, we want to know this question mark angle. So let's outline the angle that they want us to find. They want us to find how big is this. And we just have to remember that arcs equal central angles. So if the arc is 120, then the central angle will be 120 also. So the angle equals 120 degrees. Okay, number 10 is just like number 9. You can do that on your own. Now number 11 gives you a major angle, CFD. So I like to go from one endpoint through the other. Ooh, look, I just made a mistake. You have to go through the angles in the same order as they go. So I wouldn't want to start with C and then go up to D first, because the letters are in this order: C, then to F, then to D. C backwards through F all the way to D. That is a major arc, and you knew that before we even started because they named it with 3 letters. But if we want to find the measure of that, we need to use a little math. We know parts of it. We know that this little E to D arc is 81. We know this F to B is 135. But we don't know what this is, and we don't know what that is yet from F to E or from B to C. You can figure it out though. Okay, switching colors so you can see. I'm going to outline a diameter here. You know it's a diameter because it goes from one edge of the circle through the middle all the way to the other side. You know that diameters cut the circle exactly in half. You know that half of a circle is 180 degrees. You also know that if you know one angle, one part of the circle that's 135, you could take away 135 degrees, and whatever's left would be this little piece that you want to know. So 180 minus 135 is 45 degrees. If this little piece is 45 degrees, notice how its rays that form that angle make straight lines, and they also intersect. These angles right here that are directly across it, they're vertical. So there's 45 degrees. And now you know everything that you need to add up to be able to find all the way from C to F to D. So adding 45 plus 45 is 90 degrees. And then take 90 and add that to the remaining angle, which is 135. And you have 225. And there is one last angle, this 81 degrees right here. So that's going to be added. 225 plus 81 is 306 degrees. Now, taking what we started with, the information that all the circles will equal 360 degrees, we just take what all these angles added up to and subtract them from 360. So 360, take away 306, and you have 54 degrees. So, oh, wait a second. Okay, I did more work than I had to. That's kind of funny, guys. We know that DC is 54 degrees. We actually already found, when we found the major angle by adding up all those little pieces, this piece out here is 306. Okay. That's all right. Even teachers make mistakes sometimes. And now you see my thought process and how you would find out that little minor angle if you wanted to, but they really only wanted the major angle. So once you find 306, you're done with that one. Okay, let's talk about 13. EFC. Let's find EFC. Start with E, go through F, and all the way around the circle till you hit C. So we know that we have some straight lines that intersect and form some vertical angles here. Let's switch colors so I can show you that a little bit better. These kind of problems are always little puzzles, guys. You look and you see what you know. And the thing that strikes me right away is that I know that this little piece right here is 126. Its ray continues across the circle and it's a diameter like that. And I know that this one also is a straight line. It's a diameter also. Vertical angles are always the same. So this angle that goes from here to here is going to be 126 also. Remember, the top angle equals the bottom angle in vertical angles. So I can also figure out this little piece that I want, and I can also figure out this little piece that I want by remembering that half circles are 180 degrees. So let's look from C to F, that half circle that is by that diameter, CF. Let's figure out what this angle is that's above the 126. So 180, take away 126. Leaves me with 54 degrees. Let's write 54 right here. By that angle. We also know that vertical angles on the left and the right are the same as well. So this piece that's opposite it is also 54 degrees. Now I have all the angle pieces that I need to be able to add up and find the arc that I want. If I add 54 plus 126 plus 54, I will have it. I'm going to put it in this order just because mental math is a little bit easier for me this way. 54 and 54 is 108. And then I'm going to add 126 to that. And that's going to be 134. So the measure of angle EFC, sorry, the measure of arc EFC is 134 degrees. Okay. Very similar problems. I'm going to let you figure out number 12 on your own and number 14. Okay, let's solve number 15. It says solve for x. Assume that the lines which appear to be diameters are actual diameters. Okay, many times in geometry they tell you not to assume things, but in this case they gave us permission. So we will assume that they are going through the center and they are diameters, and that'll help us be able to solve things. Now, if this is a diameter, it cuts the circle in half. There are 180 degrees in every half circle. So I can say that this little arc right here, that's 6x minus 8, plus the bigger arc that we know is 140 degrees, both of those added together will give us 180 degrees. So we make a little equation, 6x minus 8 plus 140 equals 180. Now I want to add up like terms. Remember, regular numbers like -8 and 140 can always be added together. So to simplify this equation, I'm just going to do negative 8 plus 140, and that's 132. 6x comes down. We haven't used it yet. 132 was positive because 140 was bigger. And now we just have a little two-step equation. We're going to ignore the variable, the 6x for right now, and we're going to take away 132. I am running out of room, so I'm going to continue talking over here. 132. 180 take away 132 would be 48 degrees. But I'm not done with my equation yet because the 132 is canceled out, but the 6x is still there. So it's 6x equals 48. I'm going to divide by 6. And x equals 8. Okay, that's the answer for number 15. X equals 8. I'm going to write it over here so that we're not confused. It only tells us to solve for x, not to tell us how big these angles are. So you're done right here. All right, I'm going to let you solve for number 16, but I'm going to help you out a little bit. Remember that here is a diameter, so we know that it's 180 degrees. We also have some information right here telling us that this angle is exactly the same as this angle here. So if it's given to us that the angle that's a little bit lower on the right is x plus 93, then so is the upper angle here. So this is still x plus 93 as well. What you'll be doing is setting this up by going x plus 93 plus the other x plus 93. Equals 180. And I'll let you take that home and finish on your own. All right, so now let's look at number 17. We need to find the measure of arc WV. So let's look and outline what we need to find. There's arc WV. And sometimes these problems are not readily showing us what we need to do to find it. So we have to be a little bit of a detective and start working with what we know. First of all, it's always a good idea to read the directions. Find the measure of the arc or central angle indicated. Assume that lines which appear to be diameters are actually actual diameters. And since they're talking about diameters, that's probably a good clue that we want to be looking at the diameters. So here's a diameter, and it goes from W to T. And here's a diameter, it goes from V to S. Notice something. First of all, you have just created two vertical angles because those straight lines intersect. We know that vertical angles create angles that are the same. So if we look at the angle that goes from, or the arc, sorry, that goes from W to S, we know that the arc WS is going to be the same as the arc that goes from V to T. We also have some information that's given to us. We have these little angle markings right here that are the same, that show us that these two angles that I've just marked will be measuring the same. So if we have 5x plus 10 in the lower angle, the upper angle is going to also be 5x plus 10. Now, maybe we still don't have a super great idea about how to solve this, but we can stand back and look at what we have. We have an arc that is labeled as 12x minus 2, and we have another big arc on the other side that's the same, that has two little parts, 5x plus 10 and 5x plus 10. We know that this piece equals that piece, so I can start making an equation. I can say that 12x minus 2 equals 5x plus 10 plus this other 5x plus 10. So over here on the right, we're going to have kind of a long little expression, but we know how to simplify these expressions by adding up like terms. The variables that are the same can always be added together. So these coefficients, 5 and 5, add up to 10. So that's going to be 10x. Now regular numbers can always be added together. So this 10 plus this 10 is 20. And now let's bring down the left-hand side of this equation and see what we can do next. We've got 12x minus 2 over here. It just comes down. And we have variables on both sides. I like to bring the smaller coefficient over to meet the bigger. So let's take away 10x from the right and also 10x from the left. And that's how we bring it over to consolidate or make those variables come together. So 12 minus 10 is 2. And I'm going to come on over here because I need room. And it was an x. Then there's minus 2 equals 20. I'm going to add 2 to both sides because I need to do the opposite to get that alone. 2x equals 22. And then the last thing to do to get x alone is divide by, and I've really run out of room, so I'll just make it like this. Dividing by 2 on both sides gets x all alone. And x equals 22 divided by 2 is 11. Now, if our directions were just to solve for x, then we would be done. But our directions are to find the measure of that arc WV. So we have to do a little bit more. I can figure out what this WV is that I've marked in red if I knew what this big WS was, because then I could say, all right, half a circles are 180, and I could take away what this is. So you have to do still a little bit of solving because you want to find out what is WS. I'm going to find out what that is by plugging in what x is to the expression over here. So 12 times 11 minus 2. 12 times 11 is 132. And then we're going to take away 2. So we'll have 130. So now I know that from W to S is 130. I also know that from V to S, it's a diameter. So this is a half a circle. Half a circles equal 180. And I can take away the piece that I know, which was 130. And left over is 50. So W to V, the measure of that arc WV, is 50 degrees. And that one's done. That was quite a little puzzle. I'm going to help you set up 18, and then I'm going to let you work on that alone. So 18 is assigned. We want to find the measure of angle VST from V to S to T. We know a few things. We know that we've been given angle markings that make them equal. VST is the same as USV, and those are negative 27x minus 3. So let's write it again over here just so that we know what we're dealing with. Negative 27x minus 3. Okay, now full circles equal 360 degrees. So if I added this piece, plus this piece, plus this piece, all of those arcs together, I should have 360 degrees. So I'm going to just set this up for you like this. I want you to, on this line, write 27x minus 3. Add it to the next arc, which is negative 37x plus 2. Add it to the next arc, which is negative 27x plus 3, and set it equal all to 360. Running out of room. Set it all equal to 360. Okay. Remember that you want to take your like terms, your variables, and add them all together. Then take your regular numbers, like the negative 3 and the positive 2 and the other negative 3, add those all together. Then you should have a two-step equation, and you should be able to solve for the variable. Once you know what x is, VST is this arc, or this angle over here, V to S to T. So you want to take whatever x is and plug it back into 27x minus 3. And then you will be done. Okay.